We're in stealth mode officially now. We're gonna stealth the van. We're gonna be quiet as well because we don't know the area at all. We don't know what we're in for tonight.
Our first proper famous sighting in this area is here. This is where loads of famous people are buried. Peter Pan, not only Peter Pan's buried here, but Captain Hook's buried here as well.
This is one of the quirkiest actual celebrities that we're going to be seeing today.
This could be one of the greatest wild camps that we've ever done. A recent chameleon outside Paul George's house. And London as well has been the biggest surprise ever.
Welcome back to the channel. We're Janine and Liam Day, a married couple who have been doing full-time van life in the UK for the last 19 months. In this episode, we're jumping in the deep end and going urban stealth camping in London for the first time ever. The only problem is, where should we go and can we get away with it? It's time to get cracking with episode 2 of our London van life series.
Welcome back to the channel. We are still in London. You caught us last time in London and we're still in London having a great time. We are actually at the campsite we left you at last time in Lee Valley, which is North London. Right now, we're about to go off and do something bizarre. Another surreal moment. I think it's gonna be one of those days. The band that you saw in the last video, that huge band that were part of my childhood in the 90s, invited us to a gig. Their first gig after 23 years after the band split. And that's what we went to in the last video. This video, they've invited us round for a cup of tea round his house. So we're going off to his house now for a cup of tea, and then we're going to do some wild camping in London, which we're dead excited about. Don't know what to expect. A little bit nervous about it as well, obviously because of the amount of people, the crime rate and stuff. But we're going to pick a really interesting, probably the most interesting area in London for us. It's going to be dead exciting. Anyway, let's go.
So off we went to go have tea with a rock star. As it was their private home, we didn't want to intrude by filming. However, we did grab a shot of the epic falafel wrap that he made for us. We met his lovely family and wife and then went for a walk around the town before heading back to the van to leave.
What an amazing day spent with Ross and his family. A weird sort of surreal thing, meeting the band, getting invited to the band, knowing they got back together, going to the gig and then ending up in his home. And he cooked us a falafel wrap that was actually really delicious. And we spent a lot of time with them all. Such a really nice family. The subject of celebrities, we're actually going now to a place in London to wild camp. We're just going to do a little bit of wild camping to see if we can. So we got the pick of the draw. Where do we go? Where should we wild camp? We're already paying the ULEZ charge, the clean air charge. So we thought we'd go to where all the celebrities live, or a lot of the celebrities live. Your Ricky Gervaises, your Liam Gallagher's, and all the rest of it, and a lot more. So we're going off to Hampstead Heath to see if we can wild camp there. If we can, we'll stay there for a little while and see what it's like and explore the area. We're both very excited about this. So the idea is try and find a place to park up for the night, see if we can stop there for a couple of nights, make some food, wake up tomorrow and explore the area. That's if everything goes to plan. First stop, let's go and try and find a park up for the evening.
We headed off in the dark on our journey to find a park up in the town of Hampstead Heath. Okay, so we have just climbed into the back. We're in stealth mode officially now. I'm just putting up the curtains to the windows so no light comes out of them. We are parked up on the side of a road by a park. It looks really nice actually. The place looks really nice as we were coming in. So it's a lot busier than I thought it was. I thought it was a little village, but no, it's absolutely massive and busy. But we are in London, so we're gonna stealth the van. We're gonna be quiet as well because we don't know the area at all. We don't know what we're in for tonight. So we're just gonna remain quiet and not have lots of lights shining out of the van.
This is our first time wild camping in London, or free camping, or whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. We're on a road that's like very posh houses, but it's still London, and we don't know it at all. We've arrived in the dark quite late. It's a little bit unnerving, especially when we've been in a campsite for the last few nights as well, which is so strange for us. I just hope it's a really nice calm night. I'm just sort of listening out for every noise.
I know what Liam's up to. He is looking for Liam Gallagher. That's basically every time he goes to the window and hears someone, his praying is Liam Gallagher walking past.
And it is pub chucking.
It's true, isn't it?
It's pub chucking out time as well. So on a Sunday, so it's going to be him.
We decided as it was late to grab a quick bite tonight and cook up some ready-made curries.
All I want is so wide, little red house in the country wide.
This isn't the official way to cook this rice, by the way. I think you're supposed to do it in the microwave, but obviously we don't have a microwave. So.
And also, just make sure it's piping hot. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, please just follow the instructions. If you do this, don't copy us at all.
Neither of them look too appetising, but the proof's going to be in the pudding for sure.
It's all right.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's all right. We sat and ate these odd curries. I'm not quite sure if I liked mine, but Liam seemed to enjoy them. Then we went to bed.
A big bathtub in my bathroom, microwave, dishwasher too. The folks say hi when they pass on the street. A clean pair of socks every day of the week. A big soft chair for when I'm old.
Good morning. I'm going to stay around this side of the van to remain stealth, because actually we arrived in the dark last night and we parked up in sort of a slight residential area with some of the biggest houses I've ever seen, which makes me think we're on sort of maybe potentially, we know this is a celebrity area and potentially on a celebrity road, but there's other camper vans down here. There's big trees blocking the view from the houses of us, if you know what I mean. So it's not too bad, and there's a big green open space here as well. So yeah, that we got through a night. There was a few noises during the night, but apart from that, it was quite relatively, for London, it was quite quiet. Yeah, it was good. We've woken this morning. It's definitely winter van life time. The temperature has dropped, I think was 1 degree. So there was a frost this morning, but it's raining now, so the temperature might have ramped up a little bit, but it's a drizzly cold day. However, today we are going to do something really exciting. We are heading into Hampstead Heath for a moment. Janine wants some brunch. You may have seen recently that we've stopped eating out as much. Obviously we want to save money, that's one part of it. The other part of it was trying to get a bit healthier, lose a bit of weight and all the rest of it, apart from all the partying we've been doing, if you've seen our previous videos. So we've not been eating out as much, but we want to go and support the local businesses just as much. We still go and get drinks and stuff from them, but this morning I think we're going to go and look for some sort of breakfast brunch type thing and explore the amazing Hampstead Heath, because this is not just celebrities. This is not the reason why we're here. It's a really, really cool place. We've heard it from so many people. There's a lot of history here. There's a lot of weird stuff. There's some really funny stuff here. I can't wait to show you. But first, brunch. Cool then, quick. See, we're actually stealth around this side, aren't we?
No, not really with the pink jacket on though.
There you go. Janine worried about wearing a pink jacket while stealthing, that she's not too stealthy. I say she'd have to be in camouflage. I don't think there's anything, apart from a bloody marshmallow factory, or a bubblegum factory, there's anything that you can camouflage against. I'm only envious, it's a very nice jacket.
So we made our way into town to check out what Hampstead Heath is all about, finding out that it's only 2 or 3 stops away from Camden Town on the tube and still in London's Zone 2 area. Along the way we walked past gated communities for which we assumed had houses belonging to very wealthy people. Liam looked it up and the most expensive house here went for sale recently for £40 million. Current and previous residents of Hampstead are Liam Gallagher, Jonathan Ross, Ricky Gervais, Judi Dench, Harry Styles, Ringo Starr, Emma Thompson, and the list goes on. Keeping our eyes open for such celebrities, we walked around the giant Heath Park and past very posh independent shops as we looked for a budget-friendly brunch. It was looking less likely to happen with each cafe we passed. Okay, so what we've decided to do is we've got a Planet Organic just behind me here that we just found randomly. We've decided, because it's quite expensive actually everywhere, we've decided to pop in here and just grab a bite to eat and then go and find a cafe and just have a coffee.
So here we go again, it's no surprise, 'cause we know better than to roll the dice. So take this love and try to make it new.
Okay, so we've finished lunch now. That was so good, but it's absolutely freezing. So we're heading off now. We're going to go and find a slice of cake and a coffee to warm up. But before we go, we noticed at the end of this street there's a shop called Snappy Snaps, and Snappy Snaps is very, very famous for a significant reason, and we're going to explain why now.
Come on over, we can make it through.
So this is Snappy Snaps. I think it's a chain. But this particular Snappy Snaps is famous because it's the one that George Michael drove his car into whilst he was hammered. I believe he's hammered or on drugs or something, having a good time anyway. And straight into this, and yeah, and this is the place that he did it in. It's obviously international news when he did it. But what was even more funny was that someone, after they removed the car and all of that, someone came along and spray painted "Wham" on the dent, which I think is just British humour at its best. So that is why this is famous. I just think it's absolutely brilliant. But I don't think the guy here actually is going to be too keen on people. This was a shrine at one point, and I don't think he's probably keen on that anymore. But isn't it funny? That is so our first proper famous sighting in this area is here.
We wandered off to find a place inside to warm up for a cup of coffee. Today is rainy and cold, not ideal for wandering about outside, but that's not going to stop us. We headed off to our next location. We are on a mission now because it's just stopped raining for the first time today. We're on a mission. We're going to go and find some supplies for things we can eat later, and then we're going to go on a proper mission and see some really cool things.
Creepy stuff.
Creepy stuff?
Yeah.
Are we?
There's something very creepy around there that I've just googled and it looks amazing. Really interesting.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Okay, we promised you somewhere a little bit creepy, a little bit spooky. This is St. John's. What have I just trod in? Oh, you can see parakeets. Oh yeah, the infamous parakeets.
They're bright green. First time
I just saw a flash of yellow, like bright green yellow. All right, I believe you. Okay, so not only we got our first actual sighting of parakeets, I now fully believe that we've got parakeets in London. We're in, I told you, promise you somewhere spooky. We're in a graveyard. And this is where loads of famous people are buried. People from throughout history, sort of literary people and what have you, loads, architects, lots of famous people, very, very old. What's really interesting about this cemetery, this graveyard, is that Peter Pan is buried here, which sounds really odd because, you know, that's a fictitious character. I'll explain it in a second, but yeah, Peter Pan, not only Peter Pan's buried here, but Captain Hook's buried here as well. When we go and find the grave or get close to the grave or get somewhere close, I'll explain who on earth Peter Pan and Captain Hook are in real life.
The clue was a square one, a round one, and a triangle one. And they're the three, aren't they? Square, round, triangle. Are we allowed to walk on this bit?
Yeah, you can. There's a path in the middle of it, I think.
Someone's left a rose on it. Oh, sweet. And that's a fresh rose as well. So what's the story of Peter Pan then?
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this is actually Peter Pan and Captain Hook's grave in London in Hampstead. And the reason, who they are actually, it is actually Peter Pan, or the inspiration for Peter Pan is the boy that's buried in here, but he's not a boy, who's a man, apparently. This is all stuff that I've read quite quickly, so please go and do your own research on it, but I think I've got it right. That there was a group of children, 5 children, their parents died, but before they died, they met J.M. Barrie, the guy who was the author of the Peter Pan stories. And when the parents died, he sort of adopted the whole family. The whole family became the inspiration for Peter Pan, the Peter Pan stories, the Darling family. Peter was Peter Pan, so Peter was the inspiration for Peter Pan. But J.M. Barrie said that all of the children were the inspiration for Peter Pan. Peter Pan was the embodiment of all of them, not just that. But the really tragic story about all of it, anyway. The really nice stories came from it all, but two of them committed suicide, including Peter Pan, or completed suicide, and he committed suicide because he got bullied at Eton being the place where the people who lead the country go to, and they bullied him for being Peter Pan. So he ended up sort of committing suicide through alcohol and drugs or something like that, if you look into it. So it's really tragic, but what's Captain Hook doing next to Peter Pan, buried next to him? That grave there is Captain Hook. The very first sort of thing that happened with Peter Pan was it became a play, and the actor that played Captain Hook was this guy here, Anton Walbrook. He's the first guy who played, and so they buried him next to Peter Pan. So it's actually quite nice and sad and morbid at the same time. So there you go, Peter Pan and Captain Hook.
Okay, yeah, you could probably spend a lot of time walking about trying to find different sort of famous people in and amongst this graveyard, but actually the sun is dying down and I do want to leave a graveyard before it gets dark.
What sun?
What sun exactly? We left the graveyard to our next location on our Those Happy Days tour of Hampstead Heath. Okay, so amongst this freezing cold weather, we have the Admiral's house right behind me. The Admiral's house is actually the inspiration behind a house in Mary Poppins, and if you remember a scene where 2 sailors are on the roof firing cannons off into like the local town, that's the inspiration behind it. And you can see on top there, you can see actually the rooftop and the chimneys that they're sort of in between. Just ignore Liam.
You must be used to seeing people doing that now.
Oh no. Even more exciting is where we're going next. As we walked around the streets, we noticed these blue dots on quite a few of the buildings.
All over the town, or this suburb in Hampstead, there's these plaques and it's got all of the famous people throughout history that have lived at certain places, like Sigmund Freud, although we've not seen his one, George Orwell, and just lots of famous people throughout history that have lived here. And this one's Sir Gerald de Maurier, who is an actor.
I think I can see it. This is one of the quirkiest actual celebrities that we're going to be seeing today.
Who would live in a house like this?
It's really mysterious, isn't it?
Yeah. So this could be one of the greatest wild camps that we've ever done, because this is Boy George's house. This Gothic mansion behind us is Boy George's house, and he's just put it up for sale for 17 million. 17 million pounds. There's actually people in there at the moment. I think you can rent it for something like 16 grand a week or something like that, which would make a really cool party. But it's sort of got the sort of like Edward Scissorhands feel about it. Very cool.
Wow, it's so cool. It's like you're walking down this like little alley right by his house. All of his windows are literally just there. So if he was in, we know he's not in, but if he was in, he could literally be at the window doing his washing up and you'd see him. That's crazy. But yeah, it's a really, really beautiful house. Stunning, it's massive, and it's really quirky, just like him. It very, very much suits him. We're just around the roadside of his house now, and there's a wall in front of it, and as you can see through the gorgeous eucalyptus tree, you can see the back of his house. It's absolutely gorgeous. It is like a Gothic cathedral. It's beautiful with like proper Gothic windows and stuff, and like a tower in the middle. It's so nice.
And like big long dark curtains you can see.
Yeah, big. Oh yeah.
And it's very sort of, it is quite eerie as well.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Nice, beautiful but eerie, one of those ones.
Yeah, you can imagine him looking out the window in the morning with a cup of coffee.
Come.
We come and go. We come and go.
Once again, we've done the chimney-chim-chiroo stepping time outside the Admiral's house, and we've done Chameleon outside Boy George's house. 2 things on the bucket list done.
We had 3 more things on our list to do. One was to look at the cityscape view of London from Parliament Hill. It was getting colder, rainier and mistier, but we still managed to see the city in the distance.
I think you'd agree that despite the rain, we put in a top effort today and seeing some stuff. That's the skyline. Actually looks quite beautiful with all of the sort of sinister clouds on top of it. But it's still chucking it down. All of our photography equipment's covered in water, so we're going to just go inside somewhere. So we thought before going back to the van, we're going to go to a pub, and Ross, the guy from Symposium, the lead singer, told us to go and check out this pub because it's really, really cool, and it's also a bit of a celebrity hangout pub as well, apparently, but just a pub. Let's go.
The next on the list is to see another graveyard, another one of Liam's ideas. When we arrived it was closed, but even from the roadside we could see how huge it is, stretching almost the entire length of the street. So we're just walking past the cemetery that Liam was talking about earlier with Dracula, his grave in there or something. Anyway, it's apparently supposed to be like the spookiest graveyard in the UK, and it's absolutely massive. I've never seen a graveyard so big, and it's within like a forest as well, and it is proper spooky. The last location is the Boogaloo pub, and it could have been amazing, but it was completely empty. But it was a Monday, and maybe it kicks off later on in the evening. This is the pub that is a hotspot for London's music scene and has had regular performances in the past by the Pogues, Libertines, Florence and the Machine, to name but a few. We both said how cool it would be to come back here on a weekend night.
Well, the pub unfortunately is not open, or it's closed at the moment. So because it's cold and wet and what have you, I'm going to go back and make Janine the nicest meal, and it's a really interesting one with a great story behind it. So we're just up here, I think, the van's up here. We've walked like 25,000 steps today, so we're both shattered, but we're going to go back and eat a lot of food.
And with food on our minds, we headed back to the van to eat and warm up. Oh my god, I'm so cold.
Get those boots off.
I know. Okay, so pyjamas on. Liam is cooking tonight and he is making something incredible. We found an ingredient in that supermarket earlier and we just had to buy it because we know what it tastes like because we've tried it before. So let's find out what Liam's cooking. Today Liam is making me a Mexican feast, tacos with homemade pico de gallo and homemade guacamole with rice and salad. He was inspired to cook it when we saw a meat replacement made of mushrooms. The brand is called Fable, and they have recently appeared on a Netflix documentary called Down to Earth. In the documentary, Zac Efron is taken mushroom picking by Fable, and it was funny because we also went mushroom picking with them in Kent last year. It was amazing to learn about so many different mushrooms and how healthy some of the shrooms are for humans. Here at Hampstead Heath was the first time we'd seen them since, and had to buy them as they are delicious.
Chunky guacamole like that is absolutely divine. All it is avocados, chopped tomatoes, chopped onions, coriander, lime juice. Don't pulverise it in a food processor, just let it stay chunky. Try to get some to go to the plate and not eat it all out the bowl, because that's what we do. So after all of that walking today, this looks good, right?
This looks amazing.
This, honestly, this mushroom thing, this Fable is really good. I just hope that the price comes down a bit because it's quite expensive, but it's so good. And the fact that it's just mushrooms and not some sort of like over-processed, what meat replacements are now, this is just mushrooms. It's really good.
Sitting in our van, under cover of darkness, eating mushroom tacos, we felt absolutely knackered and went to bed for our second night stealth camping in the lovely Hampstead Heath.
Good morning from our wild camping spot, or stealth camping spot in London, in Hampstead Heath. We got away with it. That was a really another good night's sleep. 2 nights stealth camping. We usually would only do 1 night in an area like this, but because of, you know, the diesel costs at the moment being probably the highest ever, and the ULEZ charges as well being £12.50 a day, we thought we're definitely going to stay a couple of nights, and it's been really good. No issues, no bother, nothing on the windscreen, no tickets, no knocks on the door, no nothing. It's been really good. And London as well has been the biggest surprise ever. I hope you've enjoyed this 2-part series. It's really shocked us. My perception of London has changed now completely. Parakeet in the air. On cue. It's changed completely, because when someone would have mentioned, do you want to go to London before, I would think, oh, got to get the train, got to spend a load of money on a hotel. Now I'll be thinking, yeah, should we stay at a campsite or should we wild camp? Just doesn't faze me anymore. In fact, I'd look forward to it because we've had such a good time. Hampstead Heath with all of the really cool stuff around, and we've only scratched the surface of the whole of London. That's another thing, we get to come back and do this all again. It's just been magical, but we are going to get out of London. It's a £12.50 a day ULEZ charge. That is the downside of camping in London. We are going on to pastures new. Can you guess where we're going next? If you like this video and you like seeing the balance of campsites as well as wild camping, do let us know in comments if you want to see more of these sort of awesome campsites. We're not very used to it, so it's a bit of an adventure for us. And if you like the content or any of the London series or any of our videos, please do give it a subscribe. The subscribe button's below here, and it does mean the world to us and the channel, and we'll see you next time.
We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and